Man, this year is going by fast already. We're already one whole week, a little bit longer, 9th of May here. School's going to end soon. Summer's coming around the corner. And first suggestion for you, everybody, with your inventory right now, free thing that would help you boost your inventory without costing anything would be to maybe redo your photos right now. A lot of trees are changing, and you're going to have, if you pull up some of these cars that have been on your lot for 45, 60 days plus, they probably got the bare trees in the background. And here in Kansas City, we got full trees, full greenage. So I would really consider go back and redo a lot of your photos that are on your older inventory to freshen things up. That'd be a quick little way to get your inventory spiced up a bit. So I want to go over an account here. So about a month, pretty much the beginning of the month and the last couple weeks, we have a dealer that was very active with our system and stuff. And the manager at the dealership got transferred to a new role, and we got a new used car manager at this dealership. And that person taking over the role, obviously, I guess you could say knows everything and, hey, everything's fine, we don't need your help type of scenario. And so I want to go over, I would say false positive happening at this dealership. They look like they got good things rolling now since that management has changed. But I want to show you some underlying issues. And again, without them willing or wanting to understand maybe some red flags we can point out to them, they want to say that they've got everything and we're good to go. Basically, I don't need to hear any advice from anybody else. And so that, single-mindedness, if you have that much pride or ego that you don't want to see the flaws, I tell you, what our dealerships, our best performing stores are the good ones. Okay. The top 10, 20% in the market, you would think those people don't need help, but they're in the top 10, 20% in the market because they're always looking for that new edge, another layer of, hey, we're doing a good job, but show me where I'm suffering, show me where my faults are. And they have, they put their guard down enough to, take some advice and listen. And that's why they're good. And we find dealers that struggle continue to struggle because they don't want any advice and they want to continue to do business as usual. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go over some charts here. I'm going to pop up this window here. So if you're listening to this on podcasts, I encourage you to jump in on Facebook or anything like that. First thing I want to show you, I'm going to pull up some charts and I'm going to be adding a bunch here. And what I wanted to show you, again, the false positive on this dealership is the volume's really upticked. Okay, if I go back here to April 19th, they sold 67 units in 2 weeks, or they were selling third line down 45% of their inventory. So they're going to sell about 135 cars with 149 in stock. So 90% of their inventory was going to be sold. And now they're running at a clip of 188 units being sold with only 138 in inventory. So it looks like they've done a huge improvement on their volume, which again, directionally would look great. But here's the underlying issue. Okay. So this guy seemed like he's feeling like a hero because they got their volume up. Here's the underlying issue is these two things right here. And I'm going to get it more defined here. But if you notice, there's 0 to 15 and 16 to 30 aged cars. A lot of their fresh inventory is dying down. And what we're seeing, and I did a post on Facebook a while back, a thing that we're seeing at a lot of dealerships is what we call middle bucket buildup. If you look at their 31 to 45 bucket, they went from having 20 units in there when their volume was slow to now having 44 units in there. Okay. Now, here's the other thing that's a false positive. 76% of their sales are going out on fresh inventory. Again, that's our first goal with our dealers, not only getting the volume going, but getting the amount of cars we sell fresh. That's our gross. So not only is this guy looking like a hero because the volume is up, okay, and the grosses should be up because 70%, 76% of his inventory is fresh. So what does that tell you? Okay, here's what it's telling me is we're doing a great job selling these cars fresh, doing a horrible job with anything that's aged on the lot. And they're going to have an aging problem here in a minute. And so in about 30 days here, and let me show you how. A couple of things. When I click on what they're carrying, I can show a projection. So this is a pretty cool chart. I could show them what they look like today and what they're going to look like 2 weeks from now, May 24th. If nothing changes, you're going to see that yellow line build up a little bit, the 31 to 45, but then look what happens to 4660. They have 12 units in there. 46 to 60 is going to jump up to 44 units. And then the age is coming. They used to only have 3 cars aged, and now they're up to 25 cars aged if nothing changes. And here's how I know that's going to happen. Let me scroll down to here. When these paths crisscross, we've got a big issue. So directionally look great. Volume's there, 180 units with 130 in stock, or 140 in stock, 76% fresh sale rate. So grosses are probably up. Hey guys, I don't need any help. But they have this middle bucket build through, and let's look what happened back here. The red line represents the average age of their current inventory, 22 days old. Average holding costs, we're tracking holding costs and age. And then what's sold would be the green. And so they were carrying at 22-day average, and they were selling at a 22-day average. All right. Then all of a sudden things slowed down, and then all of a sudden their average age of sale was 31 days. Because remember, they're starting to build up some aging problems. New manager comes in, he starts blowing out fresh cars. And so the green average age of sale dropped from 31 days to 22 days. And that sounds like an awesome thing to be doing, right? That's exactly what you want done is if you're wanting some inventory turnaround. Here's the problem. The average age of the red, which is their current inventory, has gone from 22 days to 31 days. Okay. So their cars are aging. So in the next 30 days, there's going to be kick in the throat that's going to happen because these 30, 40, 50-day old cars are going to be, aging here. And by June and July, where it's usually soft, it gets soft between now and July 4th, and it's going to continue. Okay. Now, this happens to be another thing that I want to point out to you. This happens to be a Toyota store. So they're going to have a big underlining issue, because again, on the surface, he feels like a hero. Volume's there, gross is up, fresh sale rate. And more than likely, he's probably saying these age cars aren't my problem. And maybe the management has to do something to help work out of those cars, but they're going to have a big underlining problem. But here's the other thing too. What I see now, this is me thinking deeper and being maybe subjective to our information, but he's selling 68% of his inventory in 2 weeks, which is, again, a great number. But being a Toyota store, here's what we kind of find. Watch the 68% change when I look at just their Toyotas. Okay. They're only selling at a 46% rate in Toyotas, and they're getting rid of their non-Toyotas almost too quick. Okay, 190% sale rate. What that means is they got 21 non-Toyotas in stock, but they've sold 40 over the last 2 weeks. They're on pace to sell 80 non-Toyotas to their 21 that are in stock. So maybe they're blowing those out too cheap. But the other thing that I would say I would want to look at, not only that, is I think their Toyotas they're being too proud of too long. Okay. And then the other thing I want to point out here, and I'm going to close this out, walk back in here, and is that the, hey, you know what? That's our Lotpop bus. Let me do this real quick. The other thing that I want to point out, and I'm going to pull this dealership back up. I just had to do something, hide their name, is the other thing I wanted to point out on these charts, not only their Toyotas moving at a slower rate, if you look at their trade-ins, 50% sale rate versus their purchases, 75% sale rate. I'm not too worried about that. Trades are moving at a decent pace. You don't want to just blow those out and give those cars away as you would maybe your purchases. And so they're moving their purchases pretty well. It's just maybe we're too proud too long on our Toyotas, and our non-Toyotas are maybe aggressively blowing those things out. So if I look at their non-franchise inventory, again, very high sale rate. They blew a lot of them out, and their pricing, seems to be, let's go with the franchise, non-franchise. So franchise cars, if you look, 100%, 100%, 99%, they don't really get aggressive until day 46. So they're selling those really late in the cycle. So let me stop sharing the screen. So again, there's some false positive. That's kind of what I wanted to show you. There's a big issue this manager's not seeing. They got the volume up and they're gross, but man, they're going to have a big aging problem if they don't, slow down and take a look at these older cars and not just get tied up in just their volume and gross. Also, isolating things like trades versus purchases or franchise versus non-franchise is real important, because franchise, sometimes we're too proud too long on these cars, and we get very aggressive on these non-franchise. And then again, trades should be easier to sell, better gross profit, less likely to get age, and non-trades or those purchases are always concerns. But I've seen that opposite too, where we're too proud too long of our trade-ins and they sit too long, and then we're blowing out these purchases. More times than not, though, we're sent on purchases because we paid up for them. Our cost of market's high, margin compression's out of line. So I just wanted to share that with you. One, watch your 31 to 45. I bet that's building up. We're seeing that at a majority store, even the good operators, because again, I did a video earlier this week about that tariff talk and new car supply, people stocking up, overpaying for cars right now. And but then the market's not there to recoup those prices. So we're not dropping the prices to lose money on the inventory when we might be short with tariffs, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's really starting to jam up dealers. And again, other videos, if you go look at my video from Monday, it shows the shopper index and how it's going to continue to drop off till July 4th. And then and with the shopper index dropping, I think we see another 6% drop in volume for a lot of dealers, 6 to 10% drop in volume. So keep that inventory clean, carry what you sell, meaning you got 100, just sell 100, or just carry 100. If you're selling 100, don't carry 150, and don't allow these cars to bleed through. If you want to see how we can help, go to lotwalk.com, sign up for a demo. Love to do an inventory evaluation for you, and let me know how that goes. All of our stats and everything are in this book, WTF. Just go to workthefacts.com. There's a book link. You can get all the data that we look at to help keep these inventory moving. Hope this was helpful. Have a great weekend.